Good evening, one and all. In today's session, we will see a small concept and then we'll discuss about the project topics and then whatever doubts you have that we will see. So before that, let me first tell you that how you can create the servlet application, means how you can design the configuration of your project that you do in your Eclipse IDE, because some people have doubts about that. So first of all, when you you have to create a new project firstly. So you must say file, new, and you have to select dynamic web project. It is not your normal project, okay? And before that, make sure that you are in the Java EE perspective, not in your normal Java perspective. So you can go for window, perspective, open perspective, and here you can see Java, which is your normal Java, which you have to not select. You can click on other, and then you can see your Java EE. Sometimes it is default. That means whenever you open Eclipse, it will be Java EE only perspective. But sometimes it may be a normal Java, because Java EE editor, the IDE, that is Enterprise Edition, it can handle both your normal Java programs as well as the web application Java programs. So make sure it is Java EE perspective. Perspective means the you can say the version or the actual capability of the IDE. And here also you can change it if you get these options. So extreme right is the normal Java, and before that is the Java EE. It is showing the tooltip when I'm hovering my mouse over it. Okay. So when you create your new project, file new, and then select dynamic web project. The name of the project, you can give anything. For example, demo servlet. So currently I'm explaining how you can configure the project for your web development. So Sonali, you have joined late, but you can see the recording. So project name, you can give it whatever you want. Okay. And then keep this as 4.0. It is 4.0 only by default. Don't check these two options. Okay. And then you can click on next. You can click on this and then click on next. And then click on this generate web.xml deployment descriptor. This web.xml file is the file where we define that, which is the URL pattern, and when that is clicked, where we should go to which servlet. So that file is necessary for each and every web application where Java is the backend. And then click on finish. It will take about 1 minute or so to set up the environment. So here you can see demo servlet. This project has been created. If you explore this project, you go into the SRC, that is source folder main Java. Then you can go for web app also, and then web.inf. There you get to see that web.xml file, in which we have seen that we write the servlet and servlet mapping. So if I show you the previous demonstration, which I showed you the last time, in that web.xml file, some tags I have added, which are not already available. So this much you have to write on your own in that file. But you can see already there is something in this file. So all that you can remove it. Okay. But you should not remove the web app tag. This is the web app tag. This tag should not be removed. It is here also. Okay. If you want, you can remove this display name, but it's okay even if it is there. So this web app, you should have it. And here you'll be writing whatever mapping you need to do. And this is for the web.xml. So where you'll have to create your index.html file or any HTML file is when you go on this web app thing, this web app, right click on that web app, go to new, and then HTML file. And then you can call it anything like first. Okay. By default, the extension .html comes. So you can simply type the file name, click on next, and click on finish. So you can see a first.html file has been created inside this web app folder. Is it clear up till now? Yes? Is it clear? Am I audible?
Yes, it's clear.
Why did you take so long? Okay, so this is first.html. Then if you want, this is for web application, that page, .html page, then your web.xml page, and in your src main Java, this thing, you right click on that, click on new, and select servlet, this one. Now you can select Java also over here. Uh, okay, that option is not class. You have to select. You can select class, and then you can write the code in that file also. It will become a servlet, because we know that extension of a normal Java file and a servlet file, both extensions, both the files have the extension .java. So either select class, but then you'll have to write more code. But if you select servlet, automatically you can means you can mention some things in these options, and automatically some code will come over there. For example, superclass java x.servlet.http.servlet. You can see this. So this is actually the where we write our class extends http servlet. So that thing will come automatically. So that features you can have, and you can write your package name like com.company or whatever package you want to give, and the class name. Class name is the actual name of our servlet. For example, previously we had some name, like if I write here add servlet, you can call it anything. Click on next, and if you want, you can give a description like this is created by me. Anything you can type here. It doesn't affect the program or anything. Anything you can type. Click on next, and if you want the service method, you can click on this checkbox. And if you want do get or do post method, then you can click on this or this. Now we know that the service method will call the do get or do post depending on what. Okay, that I think you should be knowing. Anyways, I'll tell you. So you can select service method and then click on finish. So now you can see the servlet. Already some code has come over here. Like your servlet name that we had mentioned, extends HTTP servlet has come on its own. And here, here you have the service method. Okay. So some things will come on their own, and you can expand the imports. Okay. So this is how you have to create the application. So, and suppose you make any mistake, or maybe you want to delete a project, then you can click on demo servlet. Just a minute. Yeah, you can click on the project name demo servlet and then click on delete if you want to delete the entire project. So all that I did till now will get deleted. And if you don't want it to get deleted permanently, then leave it as it is. But if you want to delete it permanently from your disk space memory also, then click this box. So that from, like, you can say that it will not even come in your recycle bin of your desktop or laptop. If you check this, if you don't check, then it will be still on your system, but in your Eclipse ID it won't be there. So you can click on OK and continue. So that whole project has gone now. Okay, is this much clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, just a small concept, and then we'll discuss about the project topics only. So till now we have seen that we need basically three files: web.xml, index.html, there may be more HTML files also, and servlet file which has the extension name.java. And we can have more than one servlets also. To communicate between HTML page and the servlet, we need the get parameter method if you want to transfer the data from HTML page to servlet. If you want to communicate between two servlets, then use the get attribute method. and we know that we can send data between two servlets also. Now, if you want to define something in a web.xml file, means in this particular file, we are going to write something, and from here we are going to access it inside our servlet file. Okay, so in your web.xml file, you'll have to write some code like, there are two ways to do it. One is if that data has to be made accessible to all the servlets. You may have more than one servlet. If that particular data, you want to make it accessible to all the servlets in your project, then you have to use Servlet Context. This is one class. You can use that class code in your, means the code of that class in your program. So to use this feature in which some data will be made accessible to all the servlets in your project, in your web.xml file, you need to add another tag, and this tag will come outside your servlet and servlet mapping tag. Means what? You have a particular tag, then you have your web app tag, and inside your this is the opening tag. Okay, the opening tag means it will say that whatever comes after this tag is inside this tag. And how you'll close this tag? You'll say / web app. Means for those of y'all who know the HTML, you all might be knowing opening tags and closing tags. It is similar to that. Now, inside this tag, all other tags will come. So which two tags you have seen till now that come inside web app tag? Anyone remembers? They are the servlet and servlet mapping tag. So these two tags we have seen. In one of the tags, you mention the servlet name and the servlet class. In servlet mapping tag, you'll mention the servlet name as well as the URL pattern. As you can see here, this is servlet mapping tag, and this is the servlet tag. Name class, name URL pattern. Now another tag should come over here. Here you can write it, or maybe between here, but anywhere inside the web app tag. And that tag is this one, context param. Param is the short form for parameters. So context hyphen param, this param name is name, and param value is some value which you can access using the name. So you can say that you can think of it as name is a variable whose value is here, Nitish. Okay, think of name as the variable using which you can access the value stored in that variable. So is it clear till now what we have done in our web.xml file? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So you need to keep it interactive at times so that I know that you're understanding it. And only one person, if he's answering, it's not good. Okay, this is the change that you have done in your web.xml file. And then in your servlet file, if you want to access that name is the variable, you can say, means you can consider like that, which will give you the value Nitish. So here how you'll access it is, you have to use a class, as I said, called as Servlet Context or Servlet Context as you pronounce it. And then you create an object equal to get Servlet Context. This is a method which will return something which will be used to create the object of this class. And we know that we suppose we want to store we have stored a string over here. Okay, though we have not put the double quotes over here for this value Nitesh, but it is stored as a string. Okay, whatever it is, whatever you write over here, it will be always considered as a string. Even if you write 1, 2, 3, it won't be an integer, it will be a string. So here you can convert that string into integer if you want by doing the typecasting. But for now, we want it as a string only. So object name dot get init parameter and the variable name, that is name in this case, which you have to write within double quotes. Okay, so be careful that in your web.xml file, nowhere you have to mention the double quotes. Only here the double quotes come in your servlet file. So using this name, I'll be able to access its value called as Nitesh, which I'm going to store in this string object str. And using this out.println, I'm going to print the value of this str variable. So what I'm going to print actually, can you tell me? When I'm printing str means what will be the value of str that will get printed? Yes. Okay, you think about it and let me know. So now we have seen that if we want to make a particular data accessible to all the servlets, we need to mention that using the web.xml file inside the web.xml file, using param name and param value inside the context param tag. Now there's another thing that maybe you want some data to be accessible only to a particular servlet. You may have 100 servlets, but you want that particular data to be accessible to only servlet number 1, suppose. Then you have to mention, you have to use Servlet Config as one more class. It is Servlet Config is another class. And for that, since you want the data to be accessible to only one particular servlet, inside the servlet tag, this is the servlet tag. And below we have the servlet mapping tag. Means it is defined. It is not shown here, but it is defined because these are the screenshots of the code. And inside the servlet tag, you know that you have the name and the class. Along with that, you have another tag, means you can say that this is nesting of tags. So in this tag, it is now not context param, but it is init param. And here also you have name and value. The only difference between the two things is this data, this name, using which you can access its value Rohan, it will be accessible only in this servlet, in the servlet in which you are going to, whose name is ABC. And in that servlet, the class that we have used is my servlet. My servlet is the class name, means here you can see the class that is there inside the servlet file is my servlet, and its name is ABC. Only to this servlet, this data name Rohan will be accessible because it is written inside this servlet tag. Okay, so if you try to access this data, if you try to print name using some other servlet, it will give you an error. And here the same thing, but only the object. In the previous thing what we did, we created an object of Servlet Context, that class object we have created. But this time you have to create an object of the Servlet Config class. And you have the same pattern of the method. Here it was get Servlet Context, here it is get Servlet Config. And using this object get init parameter name. Name is what? This one, its value is Rohan. So when you store the value, whatever is returned, that you're going to store it in str as a string. So when you print the string, what will be the value that will get printed? Can you tell me? Yes. Have you understood this? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then you should be able to answer it.
There's actually a little bit of confusion, so I'm not able to answer.
Then you should tell me to repeat. Which part is confusing? Can you tell me?
In the STR, just can you go back to that?
Wait. This presentation.
Huh. So here, in the print out.println statement, str is printing the name, right?
No, I said that this using this name, you will be able to access this thing. Then you can, as I said, the way you can consider name as the variable whose value is the string Rohan. So when you're going to
Okay.
access,
Actually, I got confused. It was written in double quotes, right? So I
yeah,
thought I got confused.
yeah, that is the way you do it here actually, because You cannot just write name because it's actually not a variable. Just to make it easy for you, I'm saying that consider name is the variable, but this is the way, because you have to pass that it is like an identity for that particular value. Name is the identity. Using name, you can identify what you want to access. So using name, this get init parameter will be able to return this adjacent value Rohan, which will get stored in this str object. And now str is a variable. You know this in your normal Java. This is a normal Java program, right? Where we have a
Yes,
string,
yes.
string name. So if you print string, you will be able to access the value of the identifier. Like, so this is the way it is done actually. It's not like why it is done like this. It is the syntax. Why do we write for int I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus? It is the syntax. Similarly, this is the syntax. You can't actually question like why it is like this.
Okay, okay.
Is it clear? Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's clear.
Okay. And here you might be seeing that I'm not using system.out.println. If I use system.out.println, where does the output come actually? Can you tell me?
On the console.
Yeah, exactly. But this time we in the web applications we don't have any console thing, kind of concept. We have it only in the normal programming. So we want to display the output on a web page inside the browser. Whenever we open the browser window, there's some output we should see. That is why out is the actually the uh, object of a particular class which will provide you all the output functionalities. Means output can be given on the console, it can be given in the browser as on a web page, it can be given through socket programming. Means if you are connected to more than one computer through the network, then through the network, through wireless medium or wired medium, you can transfer the data. That is called socket programming. Through the socket, the data means stream of bytes or bits can be transferred. So it means that you can, just a minute. Yeah. So the output may be in different ways. Even file handling concepts, you're writing data from one file to another file. So their file acts as the source also, as well as inside the file you're writing. So file is the output also, means where you get the output. So out will provide you all that functionality. But out here is an object of the print writer class, which has all this functionality to show the data on the web page. And we have seen this last time. So the class name, that is print write out, equal to response, because we are getting the data from somewhere and it is a response, means we have requested for the data, and when we get the data, that data is actually the response to us. And we'll call this get writer method, so that we know, means this get writer method will help us to initialize the object creation. Means the object will be created using this get writer method, and you can refer to that object using out as the variable name. Means we know that right hand side is actually responsible for creating the object, and how to refer to that object using this out entity. So we say always out dot display, out dot get data, or something like that. So here out dot println. So get writer out equal to response dot get writer. Okay, this is the syntax for it. So we know that we at the output we'll get to see just the value, that is Rohan. In this case, Rohan. So there are two ways, which I told you is about um, the data should be accessible to only one servlet, that is using Servlet Config. But if you use Servlet Context, then the data will be visible or accessible to all the servlets in your project. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. So that was it actually. Hmm. If I think that some more any topic I want to take about servlets, I'll take that. But basically, this is okay, but it is a little time consuming if you're using servlets. Using JSP, Java Server Pages, the design as well as the logic will be in one page only. So you don't have to have three files where you're linking from here to there and all. So that will be little easier, and we can focus more on that technology, that way of doing it. So this is just, you should know it. That's why I'm telling you about this servlet concept. So now one important thing is about the projects. Now tell me one thing. Here, all these names, whoever has mentioned, are you all doing the project individually or have you formed any group?
No, I'm doing project individually.
Okay, what about others?
Individually.
Okay, why you all don't want to do it in the group? No, it's your choice, but anyways. And I hope others also, if you are in the meeting, then you can respond. Okay, because if you're doing it in a group, then you can mention your group members' names, maximum 4 over here. Like this is group 1, wherein you can enter 4 names as your members and their respective details. But if you're doing it individually, then you can mention your name as an individual group, means only one member group, and you can write your 5, 6, 7, 8 as you have done it correctly. But if it is in a group, make sure that you don't keep putting the numbers like 10, 11, 12, 13, but write only 10. Suppose next person, if he wants to form a group, he'll write 10 and then write all the roll numbers over here of his team members. Don't write 10, 11, 12, 13. Otherwise it indicates that you're doing it individually. This is the group number. Okay, so if you're doing it in a group, don't mention separate serial numbers like this for the group members. Each group should have a particular number, like group 1, group 2. So here, since you mentioned it like this, I'm assuming that you people are doing it individually, all these names, because you mentioned 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you want to change it, you can do it, still there's time. Okay, and uh, so have you all decided which topic you all are going to do? I have mentioned some topics here. Any idea which topic you have decided? Yes, or have
Like I'm actually practicing the basics of it and implementing few simple codes. Right now, like I have not choose the topic. I'm like revising all those prerequisites to make the project.
okay, so currently what are you revising?
Like I have issued a book of core Java from library where it's all detailed servlets and applet all packages are there. So from there, doing codes and practicing from the book also.
Okay. And others have you decided? So you use community version of it. Yes, because the other version is paid actually, and you need a license for that, and it's quite expensive also. So Eclipse will provide you the free version of that. So that is why I'm using Eclipse. Anyone else has decided the topic? Or if now also you want, you can decide instantly and let me know. Because then you might have some questions like what all I want to implement in this, or like I can guide you like now only. See, the topics are in front of you. Even you can open it on your machine, and like if you have any doubts about, I've also mentioned some things over here, like what all is possible. So if you want to ask me anything, or if you have your own innovative idea, you want to discuss about that, you can tell me right away. Any doubts up till here about core Java also you can ask me. You have seen so many concepts because you need to use that also in your programs. Yes, any doubts? If no doubts, you can say no doubts or clear or whatever.
No doubts.
Okay. What about
Like,
others? Yes, okay, you can ask.
uh, actually, right now I was setting up that environment of Eclipse and Apache Tomcat. Um, that web.xml file I didn't found it in src.main.
Yeah, actually, you joined the meeting late, actually, but I've showed it. So, anyways, I'll show it to you again. So, actually, while creating the project, you must click on. So, tell me one thing. Can you see these two icons over here in your IDE? These two over here. is Java and Java EE. See the mouse pointer here, extreme right, top right corner. These two icons, can you see them in your IDE?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. So you can change some settings from there also, or what you do, click on Window, Perspective, Open Perspective, click on Other, and make sure you select Java EE. EE stands for Enterprise Edition. Is that means if you want to check whether you are inside that perspective, then you must see two icons here where the Java EE icon is highlighted in blue color. Is that the case with you? Can you see like it is blue color background like?
Actually, I have set up that perspective on E only.
Okay.
Double E.
So if that is done already, then while creating the project, you will have some options which are means you'll have more options. So you can click on File, New, and select Dynamic Web Project. Were you doing this?
No, I was selecting only project.
Yeah, so you have to select dynamic web project because why dynamic? That also I can tell you that because we are accepting the input from the user and then through HTML page and then we are accessing it in the servlet. So the input is not constant, means he can enter whatever he wants. So that is means it is dynamically changing at the runtime. It is changing. So dynamic web project. Otherwise, you also have a static web project here, where the user will not be able to enter different data. Everything is predefined, it is available. So here we are using through servlets. So it is dynamic web project. Select dynamic web project and then project name and all. You can enter it, whatever you want. You can click on next, click on this, click on next, select this generate web.xml, and then further, I think you were present in the meeting, you have seen it.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, welcome. Any other doubts? No. Okay, so I'll just ask 2 3 questions now because next I think we'll have to start with the new concept, but we don't have much time. So can anyone tell me, can we DM you if you're stuck? Yeah, yeah, of course you can. And means try to do it on the group only because at times I may not understand whether you're second year student or you're a third year student or you're final year who is messaging me. So and also like others may also be able to solve your doubt instantly if they know it or something like that. So you can message it on the group, no problem. So even I'll know that who is asking the doubt, from where it is coming and all. Okay, so I was asking questions that did you all at least go through these project ideas? Means you would have at least seen, like, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes, we have gone through it, and we were thinking of doing it on airline reservation system.
Okay, we means are you doing it in a team? I mean a group,
Yes, we are three members in my group.
but you haven't mentioned it over here.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I will do it right now.
Okay, so if you're doing airline system, so I've already mentioned about some details like storing the number of vacant seats, flight details, arrival, departure cities, the price of each flight or the rate, and then payment processing. If you want, if you know it how to do it, you can do it. Otherwise, let it be. And there should be one dummy model of payment processing and also to cancel the booking. Now, payment processing means what you can do is from the HTML page, you can accept the flight details like what is the destination, what is the source, I mean the arrival and departure destinations. Then you can select what is the fare, the price, and all that. In some inputs, you can take from the user, and then you can generate a bill saying that this is your name, this is your age, or whatever, and you have selected this thing. Your flight will go on 12th of December, whatever, like that. And then you can show the final amount. You can have the tax and all that, GST, whatever you want. And then you should have an option to cancel booking also. Means you can have two buttons like proceed and for booking or cancel for the booking. And then when you click on cancel, you should display the next message that your booking has been cancelled successfully. And since you can also mention that you have payment is refunded, or if you refund only 10% of the total amount paid, that also something means you can try whatever you want. Any other doubts, like what can we implement? Any idea from your side that you have a doubt or you want to tell me, Sonali?
Actually, the front page, how the page will look, that I will do with HTML, but I need to practice that backend thing. So I was just
Okay,
revising the things right now.
okay. So yeah, means we have not done much of backend actually. Only two topics we have done. That is JDBC for the database, where you're going to store the maybe the details of the customer, and servlet. But I prefer that you use JSP. Means it is your opinion, because you'll take less time to develop it, which we'll see in the next lectures. JSP, Java Server Pages, and it is easier also, I guess. So mm there you can write HTML and Java in a single file, so it will be less time consuming. And so that is just Java programming. Means even I believe that when you're developing any web project, if you're using only HTML, CSS, and maybe Bootstrap also, and maybe React also, but there's no logic as such if you're using only these technologies. Like if you click on some button, then change the color of a particular box or something like that, or if you're clicking on something, then show this image. So there should be some logic also, because we have seen that using a programs we can develop GUIs and all that, but using HTML we have a upper hand. Like the GUI that we produce using HTML is more robust and more pleasing, or you can say more complex. And there, if we had the logic also, then it will be better. So mainly why we are using these programming languages is so that we can implement logic in our websites. And logic mainly we need to handle the backend. Front end logic, a particular restriction, or you can say limited logic is there. You can use it using HTML and CSS animations, if you know about that. Animations, you can maybe you can change the color, uh, then you can change the rotation, means you can change it along XYZ direction. If not rotation, you can also like you might have studied computer graphics, in that you have translation, rotation, and scaling, basic operations that also can be performed. Then in animations you can also have, if you want to display images for a particular interval of time, means you want to keep shuffling the images, that is also possible. So there are many things that you can do through HTML only without any programming logic. But if you add programming logic, it is always better, because it is more uh, complex and it can handle it better. Now in CSS, how many of you all know it, I don't know, but have you heard about functions and variables in CSS? Or what do you think? Does it exist or not? Functions and variables in CSS? Anyone knows CSS over here?
I think CSS is only to make the appearance of that web page look better.
Yeah. But actually, if I tell you, you have something called as functions and variables in CSS as well. And that is, again, it is limited only. It is not like your programming logic actually. So there what you have is, uh, if you want to display a particular text field whose size will keep changing as the browser window size changes. So here, as I change the size of my browser, you can see that these icons are coming close to each other. If I extend the size, they are a little separated. So these functionalities can be done by CSS. Now, what if you want to leave 20 pixel size only over here, and the remaining size should keep on stretching and shrinking? So it is not possible using percentages. If you use percentage like width equal to 60% of the browser width or of the parent element's width, it will not maintain 20 pixel. So there's a particular function called as calc. It will be used like 100% minus 20 pixel. So 20 pixel size is constant. 100% will keep on changing based on the parent's width or the browser window width. 100% of this width is from here to here. If I reduce the size of this browser window, 100% width will be from here to here. If I still reduce it, size of 100% means only this much now. So based on this size, it will keep on changing. But here you can have this calc function, and you can say width like this. You use it in CSS where you have certain tags like h1, then you put your curly bracket. Okay, so this is also possible. This is a function. Why? Because here you have parenthesis in which you're passing the actual parameter. So this is one function. Then you have variables also in your CSS. Usually people are not aware of this unless they know about it, wherein you have a particular root tag over here. And here to create variables, you use two minus signs. You can call your variable anything like a, then you can give colon, and you can have a variable. You can have any name over here. Like if you want to give the color may be, suppose teal is one of the colors. You can also have light green or maybe red or any color, whatever. Or you can give the RGB values also, or you can simply write hash FFF stands for white. So you can have such things. And this variable will now be used to represent the red color. So here, if your h1 tag, you want to make its color red using that variable, then you can write here like this. And then a variable is function is there. Function name itself is variable in which you can mention hyphen hyphen a. So this indicates that this a stands for red, which you're going to assign to this color. So using this function, it knows that hyphen hyphen a stands for red, which will come over here. So what is the benefit is, if you have multiple tags, if you have an h2 tag also, here also you have a color, here also you want it red, and suppose here also you have not used variable function for now, you're saying red. Then if you want to change red here also, red here also, you may have 100 such tags where all you'll keep changing red to blue. Suppose if you want to change red to blue for all such tags, then here you'll have to change it to blue, here you'll have to change it. But what is the better option? If you use the variable function, then here you'll have variable, and you'll also write over here hyphen hyphen a. Here also you can write variable hyphen hyphen a, and only change this red to blue. So everywhere it will become blue. You don't have to manually change blue. So this is one thing, like even I didn't know it, but then recently I came to know about it. So you can try it out. Like, okay, so you can try it. So such things are also possible. But this, if you study the particular language or any concept in depth, then only you get to know such things. Like even in HTML, there are certain actions which you can perform, and you may consider like it is just like a programming language itself. Then even in JavaScript, there are many such things. Then if you know advanced technologies like React, it can make your website more efficient, because React, it is actually used to design the components separately, and then you can combine them to form a web page. Like you have a header section, you have a footer, you have the logo of a particular company, you have a section for information of the company, another section to select whatever you want, or some different sections are there, components, UI components, user interface components, which you can develop using React efficiently. And another advantage is, it is almost like a single page website, wherein if you click on different buttons, it will, without reloading the page, there itself you'll get the changes. Otherwise, usually when we click on a button, we go to a different page, or maybe the page gets reloaded. But using React, that usually doesn't happen. So there are many such optimizations possible, because thousands of people may come on your website, and if it is taking any latency, means it is not loading fast, there's some traffic, then usually the experience is degraded. So if the user does not get good experience on your website, he won't come the next time. So such things can be handled. But in this project, we are not focusing on the front end and the optimization part. Our main focus is on the back end, but it is recommended, or it is like it is appreciated if you try to work on your front end also a little bit, not much, means how much ever you know, or if you have the ability to study a little and then do it, it is definitely appreciated, but not compulsory. Okay, so any other doubts you have, you can ask me. Or if you want to know anything more about web development, or means as per my knowledge, I can guide you. Any questions are arising in your minds, you can ask me.
How can we store the data that if, for example, if we have created a form, and people are filling it and submitting it. So how we get that data into our database?
So that is what we have seen using JDBC, Java Database Connectivity, where Java programs are written, and in that you have written some SQL queries also. And using that SQL query, you will be able to either store the data in the database or retrieve the data from the database. And we have seen that from the GUIs how to do it. So even using the HTML pages, we can try that. Okay, uh, using the database. So using servlets, what we have seen is if we write any, if we have designed any form over here, for example, this one. So whatever the user is entering, we are identifying that, means that it is a text field only, a text box, but we are identifying that using the particular name that you're giving, like num1, num2. And that num1, num2 we can access in our servlet, and whatever the user has entered, that we are storing in some variable. Now, once you get into your Java program, you write the program for the JDBC. You can make the connection and create the required objects and all, which we have seen already. Like I can show you. So once you get whatever the user has entered inside your program, once you get it inside your program, it becomes very easy to store it in the database. So I'll just show you. For example, here we have established the connection and the required objects we have created, and then here we are getting the data. Whatever data we are going to store it somewhere. Means from the query we'll get the data, and that data we can display it in our console or in under the text box. So basic idea is you have to get the data somehow inside your program, and once you get it in your program, we can store it using insert inside the database. So if I show you insert, here insertion. So what we did, from the text boxes inside the GUI, we got some data and we inserted it into our database. But now we don't have the GUI. We have the particular input field and all that, which we have shown over here, these inputs. And we have identified it using num1, num2. And using num1, num2, we have got that data inside some variables. And these variables can be stored inside our database, means the value of that variable can be stored inside our database using these uh, commands. Like here, what you're doing for the first column, you're going to convert it into an integer, or here also in Java, you can convert it. You can do the type conversion, and then you're going to store it in that particular column, in that row. So we have all the code ready. Only thing you should know that how and where to use it, right? Because see now what we have done, we have used GUI and JDBC, and we have used Servlet and HTML. Only these are the possible combinations that we have seen till now. But if we know like what is the actual concept, why we are getting it inside our program, because in our program we are able to store it from there to the database. So once we get the data from the index page inside our program, then we'll write this code which we have seen of JDBC to store it in the database. Now is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, means you can practice this. It is not a one day's job, but you have to practice. Any other doubts? In online billing system, do I have to do it using HTML or just GUI? Now, if you're comfortable with GUI or if you're comfortable with HTML web page, then it depends on you. But if you are able to do it using web application, you're using Servlet and HTML, or using the next concept that we'll see, that is JSP and HTML, actually it becomes easy, right? Because websites, once they're hosted, everyone can access it. But programs and using programs, running the GUI and using GUI, doing some things, it's okay for a beginner level. But usually, like even if you think about it, what do you prefer? You prefer such GUIs or do you prefer websites? So it depends on you actually. But if you can do it on a website, it would be great. But if it is not possible, or you will take time or something like that, then you can try GUI. Like what do you prefer? You can tell me, what do you prefer, website or GUI? If you, means if you are not the developer, if you are just the user, then you prefer website or GUI?
Websites.
Yeah, you prefer websites. Okay, yes, you can try on website. So that is the basic idea. So GUI, why I showed you, you should know about it, and it will help you to build your logic about taking data from one place, bringing it into your program, from your program taking it into the database. Okay, because websites, for that you had to know little bit of HTML, but in GUIs that is not the case. And GUIs are not that complex; they are usually simple in design. So HTML, CSS is providing you that capability, then you can go for it. You can try for it. You have 15 days. Maybe you can spend 5 days on learning about HTML and CSS, just the basics, not much. Then you can revise the concepts of Java that we have seen. And then at least you can try to implement a few pages. Okay, you can try it out. Yes. Any other doubts? Deadline of project. Uh, okay, since we have not seen JSP till now, so till now the countdown has not started. So if we complete it by now, next week we have orals and practicals. So let's see, I may start off in the next lecture with JSP itself, and then maybe 1 week we will meet or no, I don't know. And then maybe you can start counting from 28th of December. From there onwards, 28th of December, you can um, maybe you can start counting from 28th, 15 days if you count, maybe up to 16th of January or 15th of January. So if you're finding it difficult, you can do it in a group. That's why I was emphasizing on that, so that maybe two members can design a one page or one member can design one page. So it will become faster and easier also. Means if you're comfortable doing it alone, then no problem. But if you want to do it in less time, then definitely go with the group. Okay, if no more doubts, shall I end this meeting? You can put your attendance in the chat box. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.